there's some kind of intel leak, and I want to see what's going on. It's your boy Kicking It with Timmy B. This is Fox News, and we have a CNN news article that we'll check out. Let's get into it.
It's a Noor. It's a Noor bath.
Israel launching airstrikes on Hezbollah financial operations in Beirut, Lebanon. They are trying to destroy those terrorists' banking system. It comes as the United States is now investigating a leak of highly classified intelligence about the moves that Israel was planning for retaliation against Iran. They have every right to do it. How did the leak happen? House Speaker Mike Johnson.
The leak is very concerning. There's some serious allegations being made. I think that the United States needs to stand unequivocally by our ally there right now. There is really, we're on a precipice, I think, Jake, of a new era of security and freedom for Israel. And I think we're very close, I hope, I pray, to ending that conflict there. But we cannot equivocate. We can't appease Iran. Now is the time for a maximum pressure campaign against the head of the snake.
Let's go to Trey Yanks in Israel. Trey.
Yeah, Harris, good morning. Overnight, Israel launched a series of airstrikes against banks linked to Hezbollah. Smoke could be seen rising from the Beirut skyline as explosions rocked the Hezbollah stronghold of Dahya and at least one location near the airport. In addition to the Lebanese capital, the Bekaa Valley also saw new strikes after a senior Israeli intelligence official briefed the media about efforts to weaken Hezbollah's ability to finance its war against Israel. On the ground, Israel is continuing to push deeper into Lebanon, with new soldiers entering each day. Hezbollah also continuing its attacks into northern Israel, firing hundreds of rockets over the border this weekend. With the northern front remaining active, the U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein is in Beirut today for meetings about a path forward to end the war. Israel reportedly gave the U.S. a document last week with its demands for a ceasefire. Among the demands is that Israel wants to maintain an ability to conduct raids into Lebanon in what's being referred to as active enforcement of an agreement. Israel's southern front also remains active, with new evacuation of Palestinian civilians taking place and active ground fighting between Israel and Hamas ongoing. This weekend, 3 Israeli soldiers were killed in Gaza, including an Israeli colonel who served as the commander of the 401st Brigade. Colonel Ehsan Daksa is the highest-ranking Israeli officer killed on the ground in Gaza since the war began. Now, with all eyes on the southern and northern front, there is a major question today about how the Israelis are going to respond to Iran following that ballistic missile attack earlier this month. Harris?
Trey, thank you. The Free Press is asking, is the leak by U.S. intelligence meant to sabotage Israel? They say the latest leak could cause Netanyahu's government to decide to share even less of its military planning, a major step given the implications for the U.S. of any Israeli attack on Iran. Republican Congressman Brian Mast from Florida is with me now, and he also volunteered for the Israeli Defense Forces and served our military as well. Thank you for all of your service. First of all, what do you make of this leak? Can you get to the bottom of it on the Hill?
I can't sit here and tell you right now, this is a name that I can identify. This is directly where it came from. But I can tell you things peripheral to this that tells us there are unfortunately some leaky ships out there. We know that we had in the past Robert Malley, chief envoy to Iran, lost his security clearance. I know for a fact as we speak, there's a senior DoD advisor that was working for an Iranian influence campaign that was working on behalf of Iran to successfully influence American diplomats working in the DoD as we speak. We know that you had people in UNRWA that were working for Hamas. We have people in UNIFIL, which is the group for United Nations that's in Lebanon, that have been working with Hezbollah. So there are a lot of leaks in these ships, and it's hard to say exactly where it's coming from, but we know that it's coming from somewhere.
Look, given the implications, and I'll ask you about what those are, but the United States' strongest ally in that region is Israel. So anything that hurts Israel, just like Biden has been saying about Ukraine, hurts the United States. I mean, if what you're saying, that's an act of treason if they worked against us and leaked this material.
You said it accurately. literally an act of treason. Where does that come from and how does it affect us? Israel, as you said, I can't add more to it. They are our greatest aircraft carrier in the region. The best place for any operations to support the United States of America in that region come from Israel, whether it's against Iranian proxies like Hezbollah or whether it's against any of our enemies there. And the intelligence that we need, the cross training that we need, that's our best aircraft carrier. And you look at what they're looking at doing right now with Iran and the potential for targets that they might hit. There's great benefit for America there. If they start hitting Iranian oil in response, well, look at what that does to China, who's right now getting, let's say, 3, 4, 5 million barrels of oil a day from Iran, getting money to Iran from China. That's a big way to put China on their heels if Israel attacks them. That's one example of how we're affected in that connection.
Wow, that's a lot of great detail for us to dig into. Look, whoever takes over after November 5th, it's going to be important that they have the experience and the acumen to deal with people all over the world on these issues. It's going to be important that maybe they didn't get us into new situations or end Afghanistan badly. So that would be the left side of the ticket I'm pointing at here in terms of where the weaknesses are. But look, let's go to the source. Vice presidential candidate VP Kamala Harris was pressed this weekend on the recent escalation in the Israel-Hamas war. In her words,
it's going to be difficult, but we have got to get this war over with. We got to get the hostages out. We need the war to end. The number of innocent Palestinians that have been killed in Gaza, it's really unconscionable. And we have to be honest about that.
Any ideas there from how she would handle this situation that is really impending and might still be going on November 6th, the day after?
We know from her own words that she wouldn't do anything differently than what Joe Biden has done. But where can we juxtapose that to Donald Trump? Donald Trump, we know his yes is yes, his no is no. What he says he will do, he will in fact do. We know that he has a tremendous backing for Israel. Everything that he did in his first administration with recognizing the Golan Heights, the embassy in Israel, the capital of Israel, he has Israel's back in a way that you just don't see coming out of this administration. And even in this very moment, you see, in my opinion, Joe Biden not willing to stand on the stage alongside Kamala Harris. I think he doesn't want Kamala Harris dragging down his approval rating.
Wow. Congressman Mast, always great to have you in focus. Thank you for your time and your expertise.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so let's check this out here. Let's check this out here. CNN goes, initial investigation into U.S. intelligence leak on the Israeli attack planning, focusing on who had access to the documents. It's a 4-minute read. Monday, October 21st, 2024. So, it's across the street. So this is Tehran. Okay. This is like the capital of Iran. CNN, the publication on social media of 2 classified U.S. intelligence documents detailing Israeli preparations for an attack on Iran, has set off a scramble inside the U.S. government to discover how they were leaked. A closely held investigation in its early stages that is zeroing in on who had access to the documents. On Monday, the White House said publicly that there are presently no indications that more documents beyond those 2 had been leaked or would be published, but the exposure of the 2 documents, which appear to have been produced by 2 Defense Department intelligence entities, the National Security Agency and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, has deeply alarmed American officials at a profoundly sensitive moment in U.S.-Israel relations. Wow, these are a lot of important names. Blowing the whistle, or it's not even blowing the whistle. They're just acknowledging that there's been a intel leak, dealing with plans with another or with an allied nation. That's not good. The FBI is leading the investigation, working with the Pentagon, investigators, and the Intelligence Committee our community. According to the U.S. officials briefed on the matter, in recent days, investigators have worked to authenticate the documents and determine who could have had access to them. The official said that the focus is one indication that for now the FBI and the other investigators are working off the theory that the breach most likely came from a government insider and not from a cyber intrusion. Both documents were widely accessible products, according to two sources familiar with U.S. intelligence, but at least one appears to be scanned from an official or from an officially printed briefing book. Wait, what? Both documents were widely accessible products, according to the sources familiar with the U.S., but at least one appears to be scanned from an officially printed briefing book that could provide investigators with critical jumping off point. The Defense Department, like other federal agencies, tracks when employees print classified documents. That's crazy. The pool of people who printed these pages would be relatively small, these sources said. Whoa. That's interesting. But the investigation is still considered to be in its early stages. So no conclusions have been made. The officials say the FBI declined to comment. Of course, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters Monday that officials do not yet know how the documents were released, and the Department of Defense is continuing its investigation. Kirby also said that at this time they have no reason to believe similar documents will be released. We don't have any indication at this point, and there's an expectation that there will be additional documents like this finding their way into the public domain. He said that doesn't sound good at all. The documents dated October 15th and 16th, so that was like less than a few days ago, or more than a few days ago, began circulating online Friday after being posted on Telegram. That's not good. By an account called Middle East Spectator. They are marked top secret and have markings indicating that are meant to be seen only by the U.S. and its Five Eyes allies: Australia, Canada, New Zealand, in the United Kingdom. Wow, this is crazy. One of the documents which says, this is CNN dropping this intel, so I don't know, take this with a grain of salt. One of the documents which says it was compiled by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency says the plans involve Israel moving munitions around. One of the documents says it's compiled. So they have, it sounds like they have satellite imaging of these people moving munitions. I mean, but where though, right? Where are these images of them moving? Like, where are they moving it to? And then where are they seen moving it, right? Like, it's interesting. Very interesting. Another document says it's sourced to a national security agency and outlines Israeli Air Force exercises involving air-to-surface missiles. Wow. Also believed to be in preparation for a strike on Iran. Wow. CNN is not quoting directly from or showing the documents, highlighting the sensitive nature of the leak. Wow. American officials are extremely tight-lipped in the investigation on Monday. Officially multiple agencies declined even to confirm that an investigation is ongoing. In a statement over the weekend, the Middle East Spectator account said it was not aware of any additional leaked classified U.S. documents and that it had no connection to the original source, which she assumed to be a whistleblower, right? Which okay. Anyway, within the U.S. Department of Defense. That's interesting. According to the one U.S. official, it wasn't what the documents described that is so worrying to the intelligence community, but rather the fact that they leaked at all. Although it's quietly accepted that the U.S. spies, even on its allies, to have American surveillance of Israel leaked publicly, restraining relations at a moment when the U.S. is desperately trying to bring to a close a series of interconnected conflicts in which Israel is now embroiled. A major leak of U.S. intelligence last year also strained the U.S. relationships with allies and partners, including South Korea, Ukraine, after 21-year-old Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira posted highly classified information on the social media platform, which I do remember that. In that instance, the FBI was able to move quickly to identify Teixeira, who had left behind an electronic trail, that helped investigators quickly narrow their lens. Teixeira is now serving a 16-year sentence for the leak, and the Pentagon has since said that it has narrowed the number of people with access to certain documents. Yeah, you definitely have to, because there's people who are just not about the security and well-being of the American people, going out here and double spying or double agent and leaking all this stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of folks that would love to have that information leaked so they can foil whatever plan that they have there. I don't want anybody to be doing anything because I don't want any wars. Don't want any more wars, man. I don't want any more people dying. I don't want none of that. This stuff is not cool, man. It's not cool. So, but it's just leaking stuff like that. There's people's lives tied to that. You know what I mean? That are just trying to just do their job and make sure that they get home safe. And, you know, these people are trying to help people out. You start leaking information like this, and somebody innocent going to be harmed in that. You know, somebody bad gets that information and they could do whatever that they want with that. So that's my thoughts on that. That's my last part of this news segment. I hope everyone's doing well. Please hit the like, share, and the subscribe button. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I'm going to leave the links for all these videos that we watched today, and I'll leave the link for the CNN article in the description below. But shout out to everyone who's been supporting your boy. We got more for you. It is October 21st, 2024. Make sure that you're going to vote November 5th. Get whoever you can. Make sure you educate yourself and educate them correctly, and get yourself early voting. Make sure you show up to the freaking polls on election day and vote. Do one of the two. But stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one.